Alright, y'all, it's time to get rowdy. What's up? Welcome to the next episode of the We're Getting Rowdy podcast series. As you know, I'm Tyler McBee.
I'm Cooper Bell.
And we're here to bring you a little bit of what happened this past week. It was, in a way, a little bit of a lighter week for UT sports. Well, we know football had a bye week, but a lot of other sports were in action. And one of the things that started out was Lady Vol Swimming had their first meet. On the 29th, they opened up against Kentucky in Lexington. Fell a little short, lost 152 to 148. So, I
have a question. For us swimmers, how does the scoring work?
It's based on how you place and everything. So, first place gets a certain amount, second gets a certain amount. So, but still, to come in that tight of a race at that point, early season, and then to open up the next day, where they had Vanderbilt at home, ended up taking home the win, 202-260 at that point. And this is
little brother.
This is the defending SEC champs, Lady Vols swim team, who are currently ranked 7th as of when the meets were going on at that point. So, and then the men traveled up to Kentucky on Friday as well. Ended up coming home with the win, 194.5 to 105.5 at that point. So, ranked 14th men's swimming even started out very solid at that point.
What we like to see.
Yeah, that is true, and especially seeing what Coach Crittich has done with these teams. He's brought them to where both teams are always usually ranked every year consistently at that point. So you love seeing it with sports like this. Then also on Friday, our soccer team traveled to Gainesville at that point into enemy territory, came home with a 2-1 win for soccer.
That's what we like to see again.
That is true. And
especially against Florida.
So true. And what makes it even better, we have a 3-game winning streak against Florida right now for soccer right there. So just anytime you can beat a school that, if you, growing up a Tennessee fan, you are born to learn to hate.
Yep.
No matter what, at that point, it's always good seeing that happen.
No matter what sport it is, it's always nice to beat Florida.
That is so true. And then coming from soccer, we had Claudia was one of the first goals for us. And then Jada Thomas, the redshirt freshman who has been making a name for herself, has also scored our second goal in there. So, seeing a younger like Jada, I think really starting to fill that role that we've needed since we lost so many girls over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I love seeing it. And then last, another sport, we had from the 28th and 29th, volleyball had their home openers. Wednesday night was a better one. Won 3-1 over Georgia. And then we dropped Thursdays, losing 3-2, but both hard-fought games.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
I know you were at the first series. I was there for part of it, too. But, I thought we looked pretty good.
We did. It was in the third series is when Georgia took their first set victory. So we almost had that clean sweep right there. But, they rallied in the fourth set to come back. And, at one point, in the second game, we fell down 2-1. But us being able to rally back, tie it 2-2, and go into the fifth set, it shows there's still a lot of talent on this team. And just from losing so many girls, Tessa, Alyssa Andrino, girls like them who were always the big voices, the big energy on the team. It's great. That is true. They were really the leaders. But it's great seeing what some of these younger girls are doing, and some of the younger ones who are stepping into that leadership role. And then, like we said, we had a bye week for football, but, that's not going to get us to stop talking about it. But before...
I never stop talking about it.
True, but before we touch on the preview of the Arkansas game, you could say there was some big things for some Tennessee commits over their weekend. I remember watching a highlight of Julian Nixon, one of our wide receiver commits. 4 guys tried to tackle this kid, and they still couldn't even bring him down. And this is a kid listed at, it was 6'3", 225 as a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a big guy for a receiver.
Yeah, that almost reminds you of the Juwan Jennings type receiver. You just don't know how to bring him down. And then, even looking at what Cody Brown did, started out a little slow for him, but he picked up. And so it shows why the Vols love and covet him so much as a big power back there.
Terrence Lewis, he had a great game too.
That he did, and then even Tennessee target Nyland Green, who at this point, there was talk that when he was here for that Bama weekend, almost committed to Tennessee at that point.
Wow.
But I get why he didn't, because some kids realize, they commit on a visit. It's that feel of the visit.
Yeah,
some kids want to go back home first and really sit and say, do I still have that home feel when I'm not there?
They don't want to make the emotional decision.
Yeah, and we've seen that so many times where kids make an emotional decision and then will decommit maybe 2 or 3 more times from the schools at that point. So I respect him for making it, but
I mean, we saw that last year with BJ Ojulari.
That we did, and knowing that, this is why I wanted to bring on this before we led into football, because it seems like even with the little bump we've hit, it's not turning Nyland away out there. This is a kid we could really use in that defensive backfield. But, just seeing what is going to happen, I think this is going to be an interesting rest of his recruitment to where, if I'm willing to take a guess, I say we can land him, Tywan Malone, the D tackle from New Jersey, and Tyon Evans, get the JUCO running back in the fold at that point. Those would be the 3 that I really think.
You think we'll end up getting Tyon?
I think there's a good shot, yes. But, again, it's recruiting. Who knows?
Nobody knows.
But a little off of that, now leading up, we know this coming Saturday, we travel to Arkansas for a 7:30 kick on SEC Network. And it's kind of funny. I was joking earlier today with a family member. I was like, how is it so far? Every night game we've had has been an away game so far.
Yeah, for real. Makes me mad.
It's because for me, it's we were just joking about it, because it's you can't help but just love a Neyland at night game. That is one of the best things ever. But, it's going to be a lot more anticipation leading up to the game. And as of right now, if I remember reading it right before, we are a 3-point favorite as of right now, is what I remember seeing, I thought.
It's down to 1. We're favored by 1.5 now.
Okay, so when I saw that 3-point favorite, it was maybe around 1 o'clock this afternoon. So, okay, it shifted a bit, Still, it's going to be a tough matchup.
I'm nervous about this game. I'm really nervous for this game, actually.
I can agree. This Arkansas team has surprised me more than anybody else in the SEC
100%.
This year.
I thought they were just going to be another pushover this year, but Sam Pittman's got him looking good.
That he does, and that Arkansas starting quarterback seems to have Tennessee's number with Felipe Franks. Former Florida quarterback who, like I said, has
crushed all my hopes and dreams.
Has our number, but I think it was good that the bye week came at this time to let our guys kind of regroup so we can see what needs to be done, because like I mentioned it in the last episode, it was still a ways to go, but I saw more push from the D-line in the last game. You saw at least a few more guys get into the backfield making a few more plays than before. So let's see if they can take that next step from this bye week. And, I like the way Pruitt actually handled it. He said during the bye week, they were going to focus on all the technical stuff they needed to do first.
On them
and then transition starting tomorrow for Monday, when this will be posted, to the getting Arkansas ready. Or I guarantee you, a lot of those guys probably, if they had their scrimmage tonight, I don't know if they did or not. I know they've come up at a few Sundays and did it. I think they didn't this week just with the bye week. They wanted to give them the day off.
Because they were doing night scrimmages earlier in the week. So I don't think they did it. I think Pruitt's letting them see their family.
Yeah. So that's why I said if they did, I think that's when they would start focusing. Let's get a little bit of Arkansas prep in. And Unfortunately, a lot of the fan base was not happy with Pruitt when he said that over like social media. But they got to look. Every team in the country goes back to the basics in their bye weeks, especially when it's things that you need to work on that is killing you in games.
And whenever you're on a losing streak, you can't look at other people. You can't look ahead. You can't look behind. You just got to focus on yourself. That's the only way you're going to get better is focusing on yourself.
That is true. And then just kind of going ahead and moving a little bit more into the game, which position group are you looking to see take the next step from this bye week?
I want to see our secondary. I want to see our secondary take the next step. I just want to see our defense in general take the next step.
I can agree with that. Like, if I had to pick a certain group, I would still probably say our D-line a bit, just because I want to see that more push up in the trenches, because that's where you win the battles, is up in the trenches at that point. And then, of course, from the offensive side, I could say the quarterback.
I don't think we'll be seeing a step up.
But I want to see what happens more with the tight ends, because that's still a young, inexperienced group that we really do need to see a lot more from, I think.
I mean, we just need to see something. We haven't really even seen anything at all this year. We just need to see a little something.
That is true, but I'm willing to think we're going to see some more speed at the wide receiver, because let's not forget, during this bye week, defensive back Kenny Solomon ended up shifting over to wide receiver, and this kid comes with track speed as well from the Myrtle Beach area. If I'm remembering correctly, I think even he was like always placing high at his state championship meets and won the state championship one year for like his conference and like his division down in Myrtle Beach. So having that speed, I think, paired with Jalen Hyatt is going to be good out there.
I think it'll be very good.
And I still want to see like Palmer and Brandon Johnson take those next steps up there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes, they don't have the killer burner speed, but they got like the physical tools to where they should be able to create some separation. Yeah. And I think we do see more from our receivers this game. The only reason I'm also saying that is one of Arkansas's best players, who was on their defensive backfield, chose to opt out last week.
I remember that.
Which you could say it came right after the Jalen Waddle injury.
Which prayers up to Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, again.
Heck of a ball player.
Yeah, again, I mentioned last week, prayers up from all of us on the Rowdies. We are sending him well wishes and hopes he has a speedy recovery, because no kid deserves an injury like that at that point. I don't care if you're on a team that you were always taught to root against.
If you're on Florida, you never wish that.
Yeah, you never want to see a kid who has so much promise go down, because you never know how it's going to affect their career. So I can understand why the kid opted out, but, knowing what this kid was capable of doing, you're almost starting to think, I wonder if that will help our receivers versus their DB matchup in a little bit. And, I think it will, because, I've watched some of Arkansas's games, and it seems like they have just so many young defensive backs. We at least have a few of the veteran guys at receiver, and even Jones Jr., who came in, is starting to see a role increase. He's got the little bit of the speed, just not, some of the burning speed like our true freshman receivers. But I think we're going to be able to work some well. And, I want to see us be able to shoot it down the field more, just throw all those deep balls, because last time I saw, they said Jarrett had the most completion percentage of deep balls in the SEC. And that's been his thing every year.
Well, that was about the only thing that was working for us against Alabama was the deep ball.
That is true, and it's just like they say, if it works, go for it until it doesn't at that point.
Yep.
But again, we know he still has a lot he needs to work on, but still, you can't count this kid out when it comes to just throwing the deep ball at that point. He can place it in the right spot, and the receiver gets there on time at that point. When you just say, chuck it to the end zone, and the receiver's going to get there, 9 times out of 10, I think we've seen those completions, and like big touchdowns right there.
Especially whenever you're not expecting it against a team that you don't expect it from.
Right. And then I want to see more progress just from a lot on the offense, too. Like, I'm hoping D. Beckwith can get some reps that he's worked back in there.
Me too.
At running back, because it still hurts that we don't have the true bigger running back. And speaking of running backs, we really need that push from the D-line to help stop their running back, Rakeem Boyd.
Yes.
Up there, who came in and just kind of took over the role right there. So, and Boyd is one of those hard-running running backs out there.
He's, definitely a power back. But going back to the defensive side of the ball, I want to see Keyshawn Lawrence play some more. Pruitt has been very high on him, saying that he's earned it in practice and that he's going to be getting more snaps. So, very excited to see what he can bring.
Yeah, and Kieran Pruitt said he was going to work him at like that star spot to help out with Schamberger a little bit. And I think we also both know why Pruitt also so high on Key Lawrence. He's got that long length right there, because he's like what 6'1", I think.
They have him listed at like 6'6'1", but he looked like, just in person, he looks so much bigger.
Yeah, he looks like in person he's like about 6'1", 6'2" at that point.
Yeah.
And he's
not taller than that.
And he's got those kind of longer, lankier arms at that point, which is going to help in coverage to go up and knock a ball down.
Sure.
Which you also know why. That's why Pruitt loves Alante out there so much. He's that lengthier guy who can just reach up and make that play at that point. So, I can agree. I think we will see a lot more on there. And one player I'm actually going to be interested to see if his role increases, Tamarion McDonald.
Yeah.
Because, he had a labrum surgery before, and
he's cleared.
He's been cleared to play now, and he's gotten reps during the games. It's been on special teams right now because, it makes sense. He missed all of fall camp and the first, 4 games, really, before he started getting in. So, you can't really blame him for just throwing him in on a few special teams plays to let him get his feet wet at that point. But I really think there's a good chance we're going to be seeing him. And it wouldn't shock me to see Bryson Eason at outside linebacker getting a few more reps because everybody's seen what DeAndre Johnson and Kevon Bennett have been able to do. So when those guys are getting double teamed and everything and really blocked, they'll have to put usually the best offensive linemen to go after those guys to stop the pass rush. So it will not shock me to see guys like Bryson Eason kick out to outside linebacker, get a lot of reps. It won't shock me to see Tyler Barron, Morgan Joseph, Roman Harrison, all those young guys' roles increase at outside. Because looking at it, teams are, if you look, Tyler Barron has done pretty good in that, in the run stopping game up there. He has been able to.
Very good run stopper. That is for sure.
I think it helps with him coming and playing where he was playing mainly defensive end in high school and just putting his hand in the dirt. He knows what to watch more. Yeah, like they've all said, people want to see him get better and dropping back into a little bit of pass coverage, but as a freshman, they're going to make those technical mistakes. But I think Tyler Barron we're seeing just a start of a little bit of football. Great football for him.
He's going to be good for us, that's for sure.
And the fact that he's also idolizes Derek Barnett, if you look back to him and Barnett, in Barnett's freshman year, they are built the same. Right now, I looked it up. Tyler Barron is listed at about 6'4", 6'5", I think 255. When Barnett was drafted, he was listed at 6'4", 260 at that point. So very similar body types right there, and just it makes sense why he looks up to Barnett right there, because they're about that same build, and it's just somebody that can make that play for you. So, but there's just so many guys too.
There's so many guys that we want to see, because we have a reason to be excited for them. like we've heard great things about them. I mean, they were good in high school, great in high school.
You watched a lot of these kids in high school, and you're thinking, I felt that hit just from watching them on the highlight tape.
And if we can see some real progress out of them this season, that makes me really excited for next season.
I can agree. And then even just looking towards what we can do with Arkansas, like we said, if we go in, handle our business, like people said, it don't matter if we win by 1 or win by 3 touchdowns.
A win is a win.
Go handle the business, come out with that W to help flip the momentum back in our favor, like in that win column. Because in reality, if you look at it, we could come out and win out the rest of our season. Every game is winnable. Like, I don't think we can say one game is 100% not at this point, because we've seen so many things happen at that point. Look at all the kids who have been, like, from other teams who are testing positive for COVID and having to miss. So, with so many circumstances like that still happening mid-season, who knows? The rest of this season, I really think we can turn it around at that point.
So you're saying best case scenario 7-3?
Yeah, 7-3, which I kind of thought beginning of the season. I said I was leaning towards like that 6-4, 7-3 with, and now knowing that every team's qualified for a bowl, get a good bowl, get that. So after a bowl, have 7 or 8 wins in total, right there. For the start of the season, that would be the good turnaround right there, and it would prove sometimes that every team's going to hit that wall. It's just how do they get around it or over it at that point. Once you figure it out, you can get it switched.
Yeah. What's worst case scenario for you?
Worst case, I think, would be 5-5 at that point. Like I think we could go break even, go even at that point.
Think so?
Yeah, just because looking at some of the other games, there's so many teams they can play great one week and then so the next. That's on the rest of our schedule. So and just like I said, going back to the whole uncertainty things, you never know what could happen, and who knows, we might have a game that has to get canceled because of our team or another team having positive COVID tests, just because in this day and age, we don't know until anything happens. So who knows how many games could potentially be taken away because of it at that point. So in the end, I'm still thinking we can, the worst case I think would be 5-5 for us, just because seeing what we have the capability of doing is why I'm saying that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into this Arkansas matchup real quick. So Tennessee is favored by 1.5 right now, but at the same time, Arkansas is favored to win. ESPN gives them a 52% chance to win. So there's that. I think that's because it's at Arkansas.
Yeah, because usually you see it when it's that close of an odds.
Yeah.
I've usually seen ESPN giving the slight edge to the home team at that point all the time.
I mean, we look back at South Carolina. I mean, we weren't favored. ESPN didn't like us in that matchup.
But we came out on top with the win right there. Yeah, that is true.
All right, let's compare the quarterback position. Of course, we have JG for us. 914 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Felipe Franks. Talk about a guy that's played like he's a man on a mission. Over 1,200 yards this season, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's great numbers.
Yeah. And
really good numbers.
What you have to admit helps with Franks a lot, too, is, JG's kind of, you could say, built the same way. They're both bigger quarterbacks, too. So, but Felipe he knows how to really work his feet, for sure. So, I think if we get enough pressure on him, that's how I see he gets rattled. You got to put that constant pressure on him. I don't care if you have to knock him down every throw at that point. You got to put pressure on him.
I would love to be able to knock him down every throw. That'd be great.
That would definitely be a step up our defense needs to do, but It's going to be interesting. But yeah, then our running back matchups we got.
We got Eric Gray is our leading rusher right now. 79 carries for 355 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then, like you said, you got Raheem Boyd, and then you also have a guy named Trelon Smith. He's a pretty good running back. I honestly haven't even heard of him until I was looking at this matchup, and I've watched some of his highlights, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good little running back that they got over there.
So they got a good tandem duo, like you could say we do with Eric and Ty at that point. Like they both can complement each other.
For sure. And receivers, their leading receiver has 366 yards. But, I mean, I'd rather have our receiving core, especially with Jalen Hyde breaking out against Alabama.
That is true. Showed that breakaway speed. And they said he was the first, freshman since 2015 to have, the most receiving yards in a game at that point. And that dates back to that 2015 season. That looks like that would have probably been Josh Malone at that point. From around that, or no, not Josh Malone. That would have been Preston Williams' year, if I'm not mistaken, or at that time, based on however they looked at it. I know they said in 2015, so it's around that time of the Malone, the Preston Williams out there that we've had a freshman. The freshmen's really step up in a game.
But all right, who do you give the edge to on quarterback, Arkansas or?
I'm gonna have to say Arkansas, just because
Arkansas, no question.
I've seen what Franks has been able to do all throughout his career, and he's one of those guys that's you hear those jokes. It seems like he's been in college 9-10 years. He's been around the college football for a while. He got to Florida the same year JG first came to here. They graduated together in the same signing year. So it's just interesting to see how long it seems like a lot of these kids have been around the college game.
It's very interesting. But yeah, I'd have to go. To me, it's honestly no question.
Yeah.
I think edge of quarterback goes to Arkansas. Running back, I'd give the edge to us.
Yeah, I would agree with that because you see that, and then between Boyd and the other one, I don't know who else is really behind them. We've seen some good spurts from Jabari Small at that point. So I think we have a little bit more maybe depth in a way, you could say, at running back right there. You could say Boyd might probably be one of the most dynamic backs out there, though. But I think just overall, our 3 running backs can complement for each other what one of the other's weaknesses are. We've seen Eric knows how to do great on all his sweeps, running out to the side, making people miss. Ty has done a lot better on going between the tackles. He used to be more that scat type back, and now he's turned more into the until we get the bigger back, I'm going to run between the tackles. And Small has just proven he can actually do both right now. Yeah. And I think it's just from him being so young, they don't know what he's capable of doing yet.
And he's hard to tackle, too, because he's so small.
Yeah, that, like they said, where he's a little bit, you could say, that lower center of gravity, trying to find that right tackle angle on him. It's going to be harder.
But, all right, receivers.
I want to go us. Just because looking at the veterans like Jones Jr., even though I'm considering him a veteran because he's a redshirt senior. He's been around the college game. Yeah, Palmer, Brandon Johnson. And then just seeing what the young guys Hyatt have been doing out there. And Ramel Keaton's had not the best season like we all thought he was going to, but I think Ramel's about to take that next step right there. Once he can just get things played.
Once he can get calmed down and the game slows down for him, he'll get going. I'm not worried about it.
There's so many times I've seen great passes to Ramel. He's just had it in his hands and he's turned a little too quickly before right there. Yeah. And we know what Keaton's been able to do. I know both you and me have watched his highlights and watched him since he was in high school. And this was a kid I remember he was the only receiver we brought in his class. We loved him that much at that point. But just looking at our receivers, I think just depth-wise and speed-wise, I would give us the slight edge.
I would too.
Just the one receiver I know they have as their big body guy. I want us to really make sure we watch out for Trey Knox, the former Blackman,
Yep.
like receiver right there. And then they got Darren Turner out of Memphis, another big body guy. I haven't seen Darren a lot this season as a freshman, but Knox has been getting a lot of playing time for what I see,
Yes,
and it's just going to be interesting to see. But I would give that still us the edge, just I think overall depth wise.
Yeah. All right.
And then looking at the defense, whose defense would you give the slight edge to right now?
It's a tough one. I'll call it even.
I can give you that. I can actually agree.
I can't, because I mean, if you look at who we've played, I mean, we've played Alabama. Some people have said that this is the best Alabama offense that they've seen ever.
They've definitely come a long way since the beginning of the season for them. And then
Georgia, I mean, they got a pretty good offense.
It's going to be an interesting matchup. But I'm looking for guys like, Henry T, Bryce Thompson, Alante to step up, be those vocal leaders, get the guys working. Because, like so many people say, you can tell, that vocal leader, the guys out on the field like Darrell Taylor, Batuli, Warrior used to be leading that defense, getting those guys straight,
So,
we haven't seen that as much this year, but so many guys have that potential. They just need to tell themselves, hey, it is me. I'm going to take that next step.
They can't be asking each other, so who's the guy? Somebody's got to take the charge and be like, I'm the guy.
Yeah, because we both know for the offense, it's most likely Trey and Brandon.
Yeah.
At that point, the two guys who've been around football the longest, stepping up at that point right there. And I just need to see everybody, take that leadership role, step up more. I don't care if we have 5 or 10 out there doing the thing to get people in order. If somebody's messing up, you need to just stay on them at that point. At that point. And then just looking at it, give me a score prediction.
I'm going to say, I think we win 31-27, Tennessee.
All right, I'll give you that. And I do agree it's going to be a close one. I'm thinking more 28-24 balls on that one. So I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can prove us wrong and go out and win by a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love a good blowout.
Same. But yeah, I know I'll be tuned in at 7:30, cheering on the Vols normal.
Oh yeah.
And until then, this has been this episode. That pretty much wraps everything up. And then just looking forward to a good week of sports. And actually, one more thing, just to kind of promote, we got senior night coming up on Friday for soccer against South Carolina. So let's go out and show those the seniors, Aaron Gilroy and Ren French, some good support.
Be loud and show them your volunteer spirit.
And yeah, so until the next episode, I hope everybody has a great Big Orange week. And as remember, go Vols!
Go Vols!